Srimad Bhagavatam 5.10.11 Jivan mritatvam niyamena rajan Adyantavadyad vikritasya drishtam Swasvamya bhavo dhruvaidya yatra Tarhyuchyate sao vidhikritya yogaha. Jivat mritatvam, the quality of being dead while living. Niyamena, by the laws of nature. Rajan, O king. Adi antavat, everything material has a beginning and an end. Yat, because. Vikritasya, of things that are transformed, such as the body. Drishtam is seen. Swasvamya bhavaha, the condition of servanthood and mastership. Dhruvaha, unchangeable. Idya, O you who are worshipped. Yatra, wherein. Tarhi, then. Uchyate, it is said. Asau, that. Vidhikritya yoga, fitness of order and duty. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: My dear king, you have unnecessarily accused me of being dead though alive. In this regard, I can only say that this is the case everywhere because everything material has its beginning and end. As far as you're thinking that you are the king and master and are thus trying to order me, this is also incorrect because these positions are temporary. Today you are a king and I am your servant, but tomorrow the position may be changed and you may be my servant and I your master. These are temporary circumstances created by providence. Please repeat, my dear king, you have unnecessarily accused me of being dead though alive. In this regard, I can only say that this is the case everywhere because everything material has its beginning and end. As far as you're thinking that you are the king and master and are thus trying to order me, this is also incorrect because these positions are temporary. Today you are a king and I am your servant, but tomorrow the position may be changed and you may be my servant and I your master. These are temporary circumstances created by providence. Purport: the bodily conception is the basic principle of suffering in material existence. In Kali Yuga especially, people are so uneducated that they cannot even understand that the body is changing at every moment and that the ultimate change is called death. In this life, one may be a king and in the next life, one may be a dog, according to karma. The spirit soul is in a deep slumber caused by the force of material nature. He is put in one type of condition and again changed into another type. Without self-realization and knowledge, conditional life continues, and one falsely claims himself a king, a servant, a cat, or a dog. These are simply different transformations brought about by the supreme arrangement. One should not be misled by such temporary bodily conceptions. Actually, no one is master within the material world, for everyone is under the control of material nature, which is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the ultimate master. As explained in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ekale Ishwar Krishna Arsabhritya, Adilila 5.142. The only master is Krishna and everyone else is his servant. Forgetfulness of our relationship with the Supreme Lord brings about our suffering in the material world. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavati Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Jada Bharat is instructing King Rahugana about the signs of Atma Tattva. Yavanna jigyasata Atma Tattvam parabhavastavad jato. So Srimad Bhagavatam says, as long as we don't inquire about our real nature, Atma Tattvam, then Parabhav, our life is a Parabhav. What is Parabhav? In Telugu, what is Parabhav? Huh? Yes, failure, defeat. So, Parabhavastavad abodha jata. Abodha means one who does not know. What he does not know? Yavanna jigyasata Atma Tattvam, who doesn't have even an inquiry, which is the beginning of knowing anything, to have an inquiry. Knowledge is always there, but only when we inquire, we can begin to acquire the knowledge. For example, on YouTube, there are so many videos. Now, if I want to learn how to edit video, there are so many tutorials, right? It is there, but I won't know until I inquire. So similarly, the sages, the great self-realized souls and the scriptures are always there. But because I don't inquire, I am not having any access. When the soul inquires, that's when Krishna, if he detects the sincerity in the inquiry, then he directs the soul to a bona fide spiritual master. And eventually he will understand everything. So, and sometimes, like in this case, Rahugana was not even inquisitive. He was just offensive. But as we know, only inquiry can, you see, I have to be hungry. There can be a lot of food, but if I am not hungry, I will not be able to eat. I can't eat. I don't want to eat even. I have no interest in eating. Like you see, after a big feast, after a festival, you look at the food, you will get vomit. You can't. It's already full. So when there is no hunger, then you will not eat, although it is right in front of you. So there must be a hunger for knowledge, and that is called curiosity, and that is called jigyasata, Atma Tattvam. So one should have the jigyasa, questioning. So here Rahugana did not have. Then how did it become effective that he received the transcendental knowledge and he became successful in life? So here the answer is that Jadabharat induced the inquiry into him. So he spoke something which startled Rahugana. And he said, wait a minute, what is this? Same thing Narad Muni did with the Mrigari hunter. He was not interested. He was just killing and proud of his killing, half killing. But then when he said, no, you have to become that animal. Oh, really? Inquiry started. And sometimes Krishna gives incidences or instances in our lives where we face difficulty. Who comes to Krishna? Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukritino arjuna arto artharthi jignasu jnani cha bharatarshapha. See, who comes? Artha, one who is distressed, and he is questioning, why am I in distress? Please solve my distress. Jignasur, he is inquisitive about the absolute truth. Artharthi, he wants wealth. This is not really a very high grade inquiry. How to get wealth, please give me something. Not a very high grade, but at least because he has come to Krishna, he is considered pious. If he goes to the demigods, he is not as pious. If he comes to Krishna, bhajante mam, jnani, although it is a person who is in knowledge, but here jnani and bhakta, there is even degree of hierarchy. So even among transcendentalists, the jnani is still not complete in his knowledge, so he is still inquiring. Whereas the jignasu is just in the beginning stages of the inquiry. Whereas jnani has attained a certain level, but still he's still far away. In a sense, Brahman, realized person, is also a jnani, like the Chatur Kumaras. So they were jnanis, but in the association of devotees, they became devotees. So these people, the main thing is the persons who make more advancement in these four types are the jnanis. Next is the jignasu. Next is these are artho and artharthi is the worst. Once he gets some money, he may go away. And sometimes that's why Krishna doesn't give him. Or sometimes Krishna just gives him, he's not ready, you go. They get something and then they leave the Krishna consciousness. So, you see next verse, 7:17. Tesham jnani nityayukta ek bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnaninortyartham aham sacha mama priyaha. Of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him and he is dear to me. That will, Mataji, that will disturb the sound. So, Jnani. So, one who is inquisitive, who is in search for knowledge of the Absolute, he will make advancement. Okay? So, when the inquiry is not there, then the pure devotee knows how to create a favorable situation in which the inquiry may happen. For example, in Prabhupada's case, he went to America. He just chanted. And they were inquiring, what is this? And then it started like that, with that inquiry. The newspapers were puzzled. Some Swami, something is doing. What is this? So, they were not really interested in it. They were just dancing and singing. And eventually, so Prabhupada's system is before the class there's kirtan, even after the class there's kirtan. So that will create a conducive atmosphere. Prabhupada said kirtan will create a conducive atmosphere in which people can understand when they hear. They will be a little more actively involved because there is a piety that is created by chanting. Vidyavadhu Jivanam. It is a life of all transcendental knowledge. So by Krishna's mercy, because we chant his name, so Krishna, shows his mercy and allows the conditioned soul to understand something at least. He will dispense a little bit of access into the knowledge of his transcendental position. So here in this verse, what is this knowledge? Atma Tattvam, what is this knowledge? The ability to discern between spirit and matter is the beginning of knowledge. In the Bhagavad Gita, right in the beginning, 2:16, what is this? Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubhayorapi drishtontas tvanayos tattvadarshibihi. Now, those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. That means they don't only study spiritual, what is Atma, and not touch what is material. No, they will learn what is material also. But they learn it from Krishna. Because sometimes people think, oh, by studying the nature of both, material education is good then. I will do material education and I will do spiritual education. And in this way, I will become Jnani. No, sorry. The person who is going to the material education, he has no idea of what is the material world. Even after his PhD, whatever, he has zero idea. By experiencing it, we cannot know things. It's counterintuitive, right? Usually when we experience something, we will know about it more. But the problem with this experience in the material world is, as we interact with the material world, we are put into illusion. And how much ever we experience illusion, we cannot understand the trick. Like, a magician, he can fool us 100 times. Still we will not know the trick, unless he shows the trick. So I can be experiencing it. This illusion of the material world, I am experiencing it, but I still am not experienced. I'm not experienced. In the sense, I don't know what is going on. Unless the magician shows, this is what I did. Oh, okay. So, similarly, Krishna has to reveal the trick, reveal knowledge, and only then will we be able to distinguish what is truth and what is untruth, what is eternal, what is not, what deserves our attention and what does not deserve our attention. We oftentimes put attention where it doesn't deserve, and consequently we become entangled because of our attention in the wrong place. Now here, this they have concluded by studying the nature of both. In other words, we have to know what is truth, we have to also know what is untruth. This is also stated here, 7:2. See, Jnanam teham savijnanam idam vakshamyaseshatah yajñātvā neha bhūyoņajñātavyam avashishyate. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. See, what is phenomenal and numinous? Phenomenal means the material world, material knowledge, and numinous means the spiritual knowledge. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So, that is the beginning of knowledge, when I am able to discern what is material and what is spiritual. And it is not just, this body is material and I am the Atma, I am the spiritual, and that's it. Now I am understood. No. What is dharma and what is adharma? And even in dharma, there is aparadharma, there is paradharma. So, first of all, there is adharma, okay, which is sinful activity. What is sinful activity? Wanton sense gratification. That is called material life. When we chase material sense gratification, not knowing the relationship of Krishna with everything, thinking that I am the Lord or I want to be the Lord. That is material life. But being conscious of Krishna, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo, mattah sarvam pravartate. And if we iti matva bhajan, iti matva means having known this, bhajante mam, they worship Krishna, buddha bhava samanvita, these intelligent people, with bhava, with full, investment of their, life, they worship me. That is knowledge. So knowledge means not only the beginning is, yes, what is material, what is spiritual, but also that's not the end. The source of both also we have to know. Only then we will come to the end of knowledge, which is called Vedanta. Veda Anta, the end, Anta of Veda, the end of knowledge. So, I'll show you another verse. 7, 15, 12. विधर्मः परधर्मश्च आभास उपमाचलः अधर्म शाखाः पंचेमा धर्मज्ञो अधर्मवत् त्यजेत. See, there are 5 branches of irreligion, appropriately known as irreligion, vidharma, religious principles for which one is unfit, paradharma, pretentious religion, abhasa, analogical religion, upadharma, and cheating religion, chaladharma. You see the next sentence. One who is aware of real religious life must abandon these 5 as irreligious. So unless I am able to identify what is irreligion and what is aparadharma, even in the realm of religion, materially motivated religion, which is called kaitava dharma, I have to be able to discern. Only then will I be able to come to the right path. Right? So, adharma is material, even aparadharma is material, because it is materially motivated religion. Vedavada rataha partha nanyadastiti vadinaha yamimam pushpitam vachaha pravadanti avipaschitaha. So, those who study the Vedas and think that, oh, drinking somarasa in Swargalok is the actual aim of this, that's not correct. Vedavadarata, they are so much adherent to the rules of the Vedas, very particularly, but their whole aim is to just go to the heavenly planets and enjoy. So that is aparadharma. Parodharmo, what is that? Savai pumsam parodharmo yato bhaktiradhokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. So the person who is unflinchingly and undeviatedly engaged in Krishna's service, that is called, here there is one paradharma. Actual paradharma is transcendental religion. Transcendental religion. So we have to be able to distinguish between these. Otherwise, we will take the wrong thing for the right thing and sometimes be confused. Let's see 18, 30, 31, 32. Right? This is the classic 3 verses. Pravritim cha nivritim cha karya karye, that means karya akarye, bhaya abhaye, bandham moksham chaya vetti buddhi sapartha satviki. So the sattvic person who is in the mode of goodness, he knows what he knows. That understanding by which one knows what ought to be done and what ought not to be done. What is to be feared and what is not to be feared. What is binding and what is liberating is in the mode of goodness. That means he knows what is binding. He knows what is not to be feared. He knows what is to be feared. So he knows not only what is liberating but also what is binding so that he can stay away from it. May I ask why we should know what is adharma and why we should know it in detail? Because we have to stay away from it. And the mentality that causes that. Why are there examples of not only Prahlad Maharaj but also of Hiranyakashipu? Why are there Pandavas but also Kauravas? Both are teaching us. One is teaching us how to be and one is teaching us how not to be. We are accusing, this Hiranyakashipu has killed, Ravana has killed, yes. But they have been sent here to teach us that we should not be rascal. And how we should become Krishna conscious. So that's why there is always this dichotomy, or not exactly dichotomy, the yeah, dichotomy. The two sides. What is dharma and what is adharma? What is the consequence of adharma? What is the consequence of dharma? Like Hanuman and Ravan. One is dharmic, one is adharmic. Both went after Sita. So that's why there's the other thing. It looks same sometimes, right? Dharma and adharma look same sometimes. We need to be able to know how to distinguish. Because Ravana went after Sita, went in search of Sita. Hanuman also went in search of Sita. But one for sense gratification, one for reuniting with the Lord. So the motive is different. So all these things we must know. Otherwise, you see, this is the person in the mode of goodness, sattvic person. He is very clear. His conception is very clear. He knows what is correct, what is wrong, what is right. You see, next what happens? Once we slip from goodness to passion, this is what happens. Yaya dharmam adharmam cha karyam chakaryam eva cha. This word is very important. Ayathavat prajanati buddhihi sapartha rajasi. You know this ayathavat? Vat means like dandavat. Danda means stick. Vat means like. Stick like a stick we must follow, right? Vat means like. Yathavat. You see, our Bhagavad Gita, as it is. In Hindi, it is what? Yatharup. In Bengali, Jatha Jatha. In Telugu, Yatha Tatham. Means what? Yatha Tatham means as it is. But Ayatha means not as it is. That means you are not clear. You cannot see it as it is. Your understanding is muddled. It is distorted. You are not clear. What is right, what is wrong? Prajanati buddhi sapartha rajasi. So, you see, O son of Pritha, that understanding which cannot distinguish between religion and irreligion, cannot distinguish, unable to distinguish, unable to discern what is religious and what is non-religious, or unable to distinguish what is body and what is soul, unable to distinguish what is duty and what is not, all these things. Between action that should be done and action that should not be done is in the mode of passion. So confusion is a manifestation of the mode of passion. Sometimes it is not exactly confusion. It is, in fact, confusion is the beginning of goodness, because at least you know you're not clear. The person in the mode of passion, he does not know he's not clear. He just goes with the flow. Put Sai Baba, put Sai Baba. Put Ali Baba, put Ali Baba. Anything goes. So tomorrow some other yogi Baba comes, hey, put now that Bhageshwar Dham Baba, put inside. What is the who knows if he's God, or let's not offend anyone. So he does not know what is right, what is wrong. There's no. So for example, in Christianity, there is talk about abortion, right? In Catholics, especially the Catholics, they talk about abortion. No, we should not do this. Take Hindus, for example. They have no understanding of what should be done and what should not be done. They do abortion. Very religiously looking people go to temple, do all the pujas, yajnas and festivals attend, looking very pious, commit abortion. Ayathavat. Don't know what to do, what not to do. They think it is okay. They're not clear. So anything, those kinds of people compromise everywhere. They are people pleasers. People pleasers. Oh, you want, you do like that? Okay, fine. You do like that, I do like this. Because they don't know what is correct, what is not. They have no stance. There's no stance in life for anything. There's a saying. What is that? If you have nothing that you would die for, if you have nothing that you would die for, you have no reason to live. That means I should die for the truth. If I have nothing to die for, I have nothing to live for actually. What am I living for? I have no principles. If I'm not prepared to die for the principle, then what for I'm living? That's what they're saying. If you have nothing to die for, you have nothing to live for. This is the classic Rajasic people. They don't know what to stand for, what is principle, what is not principle. Everything goes. These kind of people cannot distinguish. Adharmam dharmam itiya. This is the worst. Manyate tamasavrita sarvarthan viparitamsa buddhi sapartha tamasi. What is happens to the mode of ignorance for a person? He is now convinced. He is convinced of the opposite of truth. He is convinced that Krishna consciousness is nonsense. He is convinced that not being Krishna conscious is right. He is convinced that the eating meat is right. So he is convinced now. And he stands for it. He is prepared to die for that. So this is very dangerous. These kind of people are very hard to uplift. Pure devotee can uplift. Krishna can uplift. That's why Advaita Acharya invited Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Unless you come, these people are not going to come out. Completely in ignorance. When Prabhupada went to America, he said all these people are completely in mode of passion and ignorance. They cannot come out. Unless, your mercy. So pure devotee, he is so powerful that even if a person is completely not interested, if he has even a little grain of sincerity, this pure devotee will fan the spark and then make it into a fire. You see, although Rahugana was, not very, courteous and very insulting and very offensive, blasphemous, he was not completely a fool. When when Jadabharat displayed knowledge, he respected that. Until then, he insulted because he thought he was a fool. But if he had continued with the insult even after the exhibition of knowledge, then it would have been a, hopeless case. And you just be, neglect him and go away. But when he saw knowledge, he respected that. Wait a minute, who is this person? So that's when his whole thing changed. So then he started inquiring, who are you? What is this? And then the whole instruction started. So, so the instruction is available to those who are inquisitive and those who are, also the other thing is that immediately he came out of his blasphemous tendency and he immediately surrendered. Right? So that knowledge is, especially concerning the body and soul, he's saying that, at one time we will have one position, another time another position. So these are always transient. And that's quite interesting because the same soul is taking on so many different forms. It's a projection. This form, actually, this is another tangent of a topic I'm going to, but I don't have much time. But in brief, the Lord can make one thing look like another. We are soul. We don't even know how we look. We don't even know how we look. What is our swarup? We don't even know. And we have taken on this body and we think that this is how I look. As long as this body lasts, we think like that. And next life, we think this is how I look. So, the same thing can look different at different times, according to different consciousness. And this ties, of course, is a completely unrelated subject, seemingly, but because I am thinking of it the last few weeks, so there is connection. Cosmology. So the same earth is appearing differently to us and to the demigods. Not only can he make the soul look different and make it look like a material body. So if Krishna can make even a spiritual thing look like material, why he cannot make one material thing look like another material thing? It's perfectly possible, right? Perfectly within the realm of possibility. So, I mean, for us, Earth looks round and, orbiting around. I mean, I don't know whether orbiting around the sun is the right thing to say, but at least the moon is between the sun and the earth. That's how we see it. But and that is also corroborated by Surya Siddhanta, which says eclipse is when moon is between the earth and the sun, or when the earth is between the moon and the sun, solar and lunar eclipses respectively. But then Puranas say that the moon is farther than the sun. How is that possible when one thing can be farther and nearer at the same time? Well, for a start, here it is. First verse of the Bhagavatam itself. Yatra, what is that? Tejo vari mridam yatra yatha vinimayo yatra trisargo mrisha. The Lord puts into bewilderment even the muhyanti yat suryaha. Even the demigods are put into illusion by tejo. Tejo means fire, vari means air, and mridam means earth. So these elements, you see what he says. By him, even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion, as one is bewildered by the illusory representations of water seen in fire or land seen on water. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reactions of the three modes of material nature appear factual, although they are unreal. So, this is the illusion of the Lord. The extent of illusion we will be able to appreciate when we see that, especially I got a much deeper understanding, although still very shallow, but much deeper level of appreciation of the extent of illusion of the Lord. We know the Lord always Maya, we know illusion. The extent of illusion is just unimaginable, because if I can, so one person is saying, no, there are 14 planetary systems, and there is Chandralok, there are demigods there, and then our Chandrayaan went there and nothing there. I mean, what are you talking about? There's no air, there is no water, you can't even breathe there, you will choke to death. And you're saying there is Somaras, which will give you so much strength and health, that you die there. So complete opposite experience, and both are convinced. And now actually the conviction of the person who's believing in the Vedas is shaken now. Like, I rather not talk about it, because if I do, I'll look like an idiot. So they don't know how to present it. But if what the scientists saw is true, and what the Vedas say is also true, then how is that possible? That means Krishna is showing one version of reality to one person and a totally different reality to another person. The same thing is appearing differently. And a devotee, an ISKCON devotee, there are a few devotees who are doing this research on this, starting with Sadaputa Prabhu. I think he's the only one who cracked the code about this cosmology thing. And the example is this: how can one thing be near and far at the same time? Well, an analogy can be given. For example, a TV program, Ramayana, serial. If you want to watch it in the 90s, then you have to wait every week for that time and then watch. So it is very far apart. Each episode is very far apart in time. Not exactly distance, but time. And to complete the entire series, you have to take like, maybe 2 years or something. Now comes the internet age where, okay, before that, in the TV, after the Ramayana, maybe a news segment. And after that, maybe another serial. After that, another whatever. So the news is next to the Ramayana episode or Mahabharata episode. They are near each other. Whereas one Ramayana episode and the next Ramayana episode are very far. Today, we have different kind of consumption of media where the same episodes are all in one playlist nearby each other, whereas the news is another playlist or another channel or another website, totally far away from each other. So now those same episodes you can binge watch all of them at one go if you want, or you can have as much distance between each episode in time as possible. So there is a possibility that is possible where it can be sooner or later, depending on which type of. So now we are a little more advanced in technology, so more things are possible which were not possible back then. So for us, so similarly, just like time is relative, right? I mean, that is known. Brahmalok, our time, not the same. It appears so that even the space is relative. And this is very hard to imagine now. Space is relative, near, far, what? So the demigods see it in the layers of 14 planetary systems, whereas we don't. They see it like playlists. All the Bhuloka, all playlists. On the Swargaloka, and we see one random, like, and one thing may be nearer to the other thing, but they see differently. The planets are arranged differently for them. They see in that way. And they see the Bhumandala and all these things. We don't even see. There is a big Meru mountain. Where is that? We see the sun and the moon, but we don't see the Meru mountain, which is on earth. Bhumandala, I mean. Himalayas are 80,000 miles high. The Mount Everest is only 5 miles high, 5.5, 8.8 kilometers. What about the 79,995? Subtle. So so this is how the Lord puts into illusion, so much so that the people who are only seeing what we are seeing, I mean, with our present eyes, they think that is all there is to it. And nobody can convince him otherwise. And Krishna keeps them like that. Everyone in their own silos of experience, not having a common experience which everybody is sharing. So, extent of illusion. So, similarly, and if you think, oh, this is all pseudo, how do you know? Well, we are proof of that. We are a spiritual soul. We are Atma. Look at how we look. We look like material body. How did the Lord make it? It's a projection. Usually our projections are some photo of a real thing which is touchable, which is, and you see a photo and then I project onto a screen, right? Something that is visceral, something which is physical. Now there is another projection where a subtle thing is projected as a 3D thing. Like the soul is actually subtle, but it is projected to appear as if it belongs to this material world, a body which occupies physical space. So that's a gross projection, whereas this is subtle projection onto a screen is like subtle. This is gross projection. And so the heavenly planets, the moon that is there described in the Puranas, where all the demigods are living, that is the real moon. We are seeing a projection of it, and where everything is like, doesn't make sense, like all empty. You look at the world, you look at the sky, is empty, cold, dark, meaningless, lifeless. That's how it looks to us. There's no signs of life apart from the earth. Whereas the description here is that full of life. There's not a single inch of space without life. Two vastly different descriptions. How the Lord is so powerful, his illusion. Unless a pure devotee gives us access to this, we won't know about who we are and how things are situated. So, for the ordinary person who's arguing and arguing, he will never enter into this understanding. So anyway, if we become submissive and here pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya, then we can have access to this knowledge, and we have to also service. We have to do service. Then the realization will strengthen and it will solidify more and more, and we become perfect. So I'd like to stop here. Any questions or comments on this topic? Yeah. No. Why?
He is confused that he is not right. Then also he is in mode of weakness.
No. I said passion. It's passion.
At least he is confused that he is not right.
Oh, that is the beginning of hope of goodness, where at least he knows that he is not clear. If he is not clear, then that is the beginning of the stepping stone into goodness. At least he will become a little bit clear, and he will at least inquire. If he is not even, if he doesn't even see a doubt there, he say, oh, everything is okay. No questioning. Fool number one. Yeah. No, he's not really absolutely convinced. He's not clear, so he just might as well not offend anyone, so that I can keep my status quo and get on with life and my sense gratification and not invite any trouble. Kind of. So, all right. There's a lot to be said, but time. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanand.